Hi everybody, my name is Eric. I'm the ambassador of the Carry community and I'm happy to be with you again. Today I have a very nice interview with Michael Kearns. He is the co-founder and the chief strategy officer of Amartus. And Michael, welcome and honored having you here.
Thank you.
At the live interview. So can you give us a quick rundown on what Amartus does?
Okay, so Amartus, we're experts in network and cloud and application automation. We work with the global customer base of providers and vendors in the networking space and cloud space. We've been around since 2003. We're very much involved in industry standards, in industry bodies, and driving innovation across the industry.
Okay, so Mike, getting into it. What is inter-provider service automation and why is it important for the service providers?
So inter-provider service automation enables providers to negotiate services between each other. So this is both the sort of business negotiation and the technical and operation negotiation of those services. And the idea is that we're moving more towards API-driven automation between providers. Right. So make it a seamless experience for the enterprise customers, for the end customers, and make it look like it's all one service delivered by one provider effectively. Why it's important is that, you know, we when we look at the enterprise, you know, and their expectation today is that those services should be provided on demand. They should be real-time delivery of those services. You know, we've had historically interoperability between providers, but it's more on a manual basis. Now, as we see, you know, the enterprise really need to provide a whole ICT environment which incorporates both the network, the cloud, and the applications, all delivered seamlessly, but maybe they're provided by different providers and bringing together different best-in-breed pieces of the puzzle. And that's really the main reason why it's really important at the moment, you know.
Okay, so thank you. So I mean, you were talking about the demand. So what is actually driving the demand of inter-provider service automation, and maybe foremost, why now, and what's the potential scale of the opportunity? What can you tell us?
Okay, so let me give you some examples. Maybe, you know, if a corporate enterprise, you know, needs to connect all of its corporate sites around the globe, you know, they want a seamless experience for that, and they need to be able to partner with local providers to provide the access, for example. Or other examples would be where a corporate entity wants to move to hybrid cloud environment, so they need to negotiate services with public cloud providers. Other examples are, you know, in the areas of what we see as SASE, which is, you know, looking at combining security with the network. You know, there are providers out there now who are offering security clouds, for example. How do you incorporate that seamlessly into a service delivery? You know, and providers need to be able to partner with those security cloud providers to be able to deliver those services to their customers. So that's really, you know, kind of examples. It's not that the inter-provider hasn't been around. It's been around for decades, but it's been done more on a manual basis for very specific services such as access connectivity or transit connectivity. We're seeing a really huge increase in the number of things that providers need to trade between each other. We're kind of in a perfect storm at the moment. So on the one hand, you've got the cloud, the network itself, which is moving towards what we call SD-WAN and SASE type applications for the enterprise. Yes. So these are completely carving up the whole networking space, looking at decoupling the sort of the overlay networks from the underlay networks, making it very easy to configure, but also introducing security into the networks. In the cloud area, we're seeing huge change there, where we're looking at multi-cloud, hybrid cloud, and then also things like mobile edge cloud and edge cloud in general. So you have a lot of new players coming in, a lot of opportunity for new providers to enter and for existing providers to improve their offering. In the application space alone, we also have new delivery models for applications. So SaaS type models. We have containerization, And all of this needs to kind of come together in a convergence to provide a single ICT solution for enterprise customers. So there's a huge amount of change that's happening, and that's a huge number of opportunities for providers to grab a share in the new evolving market space.
So, what are you seeing then in terms of industry activity to address the inter-provider service market opportunity?
So on the one hand, we're seeing that actually we're very, very heavily involved with the group called the MEF. Actually, I'm a co-chair on a committee that's responsible for inter-provider service automation standardization. So what we're seeing is a real maturing of the standards so around this area. So there's been a number of years that the MEF have been working on the standards. We're seeing adoption of those standards across the initial market segments. So international wholesale is an example. We already have a number of key providers in the international wholesale space who have adopted the standard and are already actively using it to trade services with their partners, as opposed to the previous sort of manual or proprietary type solutions that they would have had. And we're also seeing an increasing number of providers coming on stream we will see them in the next 6 to 9 months, who will enrich that whole environment and create a much richer ecosystem. Besides that, we're seeing the first usages for the enterprise. So this is where you have enterprise vertical providers who want to provide connectivity offerings to their customer base. And they want to do that in an automated fashion using API-driven methods to be able to provide that seamless experience for their enterprise customer base. So we're seeing the real use and use cases and real use of the standards within the industry. On the standards front as well, we are seeing great collaborations between the MEF and the TM Forum, for example, where the MEF APIs for inter-provider automation, the standards are actually derived from the TM Forum, and we're seeing cooperation there to try and improve the interoperability between the standards bodies and how they work to kind of provide a plug and play business to business API ecosystem, which allows providers to interoperate very quickly. And beyond that, we're also seeing a lot of new areas, new application areas, as I mentioned earlier. If you take, for example, the edge cloud, we have recent discussions with the GSMA around edge cloud and also potential use for network slicing to use a similar standard to allow providers to offer edge cloud services to each other, because edge cloud needs to have very close proximity to the end user. So the whole idea is to reduce latency, bring the applications closer. Well, you can only do that if you can have a partnership that's sort of seamless between operators for that to happen. So that there's really a huge amount going on right now.
No, it's really moving. It's really moving. So everybody talks about the transformation and digital transformation. Well, what role does Amartus play in the transformation?
So yeah, we've been in business for 17 years. So we were founded in 2003. So we've been working on transformation projects with providers and vendors. So we work both with providers and vendors. We have many partnerships with leading vendors where we support them in the delivery and tailoring of those solutions for their end customers. So we would pride ourselves on having that niche expertise in being able to bring the best in breed, the standards, the best approaches to our customers, and working very closely with them to enable them to transform their systems to be more automated and orchestrated. We work both on what they call inter-provider and intra-provider. So in the inter-provider, we're looking at the coordination and automation between providers. In the intra-provider, we're looking at the whole stack from the top of the BSS, which is the business support systems, right down into the OSS and into the network. And we support them at every aspect of that to automate the different aspects of their business. Inter-provider is the newest area for us. We've been investing in this area for the past 3 years, And we've been working, as I mentioned, very heavily on the standards in the standards body, actually leading that work at the MEF. So I myself am the co-chair of the LSO committee, but we also have people within the organization who are editors of the standard. We have many projects going on to innovate around the standard, to make it easier for people to adopt the standard. So we're working, for example, on a project right now which is based around onboarding and interoperability, how to optimize the process of onboarding and interoperability between providers, make it really kind of plug and play in nature. Now, traditionally, this was quite a complex task. It involved quite a significant project between providers. So what we're doing is we're working on things like emulators to enable people to configure those emulators and share quickly their configurations, so they can actually test against each other and in a matter of days, and just fine tune their systems so they can work together. We have our Embrace software stack, which is our own interprovider service automation stack, which we've built, which is fully standards based with the MEF and TMF standards, the MEF LSO Sonata and TMF standards, and providers can take that stack and we can work with them to incorporate it into their existing systems, their BSS systems, and extend those systems to introduce the standards compliance and the plug and play interoperability mechanism with the other providers. And they can do this in a fraction of the time that would otherwise take for them if they were to develop this by themselves. So, you know, we're really the leading provider in this space at the moment in terms of having the tools and the mechanisms and the expertise to support providers with this transformation.
Okay. I mean, going a little bit to the future, and then I would like to understand, well, what do you see next, and how is this whole transformation actually evolving over the next 3 to 5 years? Well, what do you see? What do you expect? I mean, I know you don't have the glass ball, but
yeah, sure, yeah.
How do you see it evolving in the next couple of years?
Well, I think within the next year or so, we're going to see more and more providers in the international wholesale segment coming on board. We're already seeing a significant upsurge in that area of adoption. So, you know, that will be quite an established segment for the interprovider within the next one to 2 years. Also, I think within the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to see a lot more around it's mostly driven, the need for interprovider automation is mostly driven by, as I say, SD-WAN and SASE, and the things like 5G access and satellite and edge cloud. So if you follow those trends, I mean, without interprovider automation, you will not be able to deliver the kind of global reach and to your customer base without providing the interprovider automation, having the interprovider automation in place. So it's very key. And the trends there are that we're already seeing a significant uptake in SD-WAN. SASE is really emerging quite fast. 5G access, satellite, these services, we're about to see a huge number of providers offering 5G access and satellite services in the next couple of years, and all of these are significant sort of component type services that are needed by the enterprise. So I think that's the space for the next 2-3 years, I think. And then beyond the 3-year time frame, I think when all of this is in place and we have this sort of seamless interaction between providers on a global basis and it's working, we're looking at things like 5G slicing across multiple operators, for example, which is a kind of a bedrock for things like hyper automation. So if we look at hyper automation, this would be things like looking at autonomous driving, which is, how do we support autonomous driving? We need all of that stuff like edge cloud to be available. We need to be able to have low latency communications. We have things like telemedicine, which requires, very highly available, very high quality interactions, both between cloud providers, network and application providers, to make all of that happen in a seamless fashion. And things like Industry 4.0 as well, which is, automating industry on a global basis, so that we can make all of the factories and all of the industries work together seamlessly. And this is kind of we're building the bedrock at the moment. We're putting the standards in place and the APIs, but that's really the future, is that we see far more seamless interaction between providers on the business and the operations level.
Okay, well, Michael, thank you very much for your insights on the market and where the industry is going, and I would like to thank everybody out there for watching this interview with Michael Kearns, and he's the co-founder and chief strategy officer at Amartus. So from Michael and myself, I would say ciao for now.
Thank you, Eric. Very much appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks.
Absolutely appreciate it, and thank you so much. And for you all out there, stay tuned, because we're here at Carry Community, and we're here to give you the content you all need. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And from Michael and myself, I would like to say thank you and bye-bye.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks.